say a whistleblower who works here noticed something wasn't right, and that led to a widespread investigation. Look at each person facing the camera in each of these images. They are all the same person, according to prosecutors, who say the woman who posed as all of these different men and women did it for dangerous reasons.
Driving a massive truck through our streets where our children are playing, it is disturbing.
The Nassau District Attorney calls it a corruption ring at the DMV in Garden City. That's where, she says, 35-year-old Jamie Middleton took commercial driver's license, or CDL, written exams for 7 different people. Investigators say that each time she'd use disguises, sunglasses, and surgical masks to look like a different person taking the exam.
For the right price, they'd allow anyone to get a CDL permit.
The DA said 3 workers at the DMV were in on it with Middleton, the test taker, including Middleton's sister, Kanesha, a supervisor at the DMV. This shows what happened, according to investigators. Workers would have on their computers a photo of the person who was supposed to take the test, but they'd let Middleton, who's clearly not the person on the computer screen, take it instead. She'd split a $1,500 to $3,000 payment for each bogus test with accomplices in the DMV, the DA said. One person Middleton allegedly took the written test for drove a truck based out of this sanitation facility in Hempstead. James Nurse, according to investigators, is the only person whose exam Middleton took who actually got a full license. Why?
Because every driver must take a road test.
And that? At least 2 would-be drivers, Omesh Mohan and Renee Sarwi, failed, say prosecutors. Everybody allegedly involved faces up to 7 years in prison if found guilty, and this investigation continues.
All right, apparently they had a DMV scandal, okay? And I suspect this is going on, more than one place. Somebody was telling me, and I don't know how true this is, allegedly that a lot of these people that come from foreign countries, they automatically get them, as a side note, the license. In general, they give them a license and they don't have to test. I don't know how true it is, but it's showing on the street. But that's crazy because you putting people behind, CDL, depending on what class it is, you putting people behind big rigs, you putting people behind big rigs, but check out the current news playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Patreon, all that's in Linktree, Facebook, Kick, Amazon, we everywhere. So my thing is this, bro. First and foremost, most people are illiterate. Most people I think out here, and I think that number bigger than what people think, are literally retarded. I don't mean that as a slur, as a joke. I mean, literally, most people are not smart. Most people are not smart. Most people are not average in intelligence. And I'm not talking about from 18 on down. I mean 18 on up. And I know people that have made it to college who wasn't literate. I've done videos on 2-3 people in one video. One girl, she graduated from in Connecticut with honors, and she could not read. Right? It was another kid down there in Tennessee. He graduated with over 3-point honors, could not read. There was a professor. He was from back in the day. And there's one video I did. He was a professor from back in the day. He was a teacher, and he could not read. I'm telling y'all, bro, most of these people you get out here are not smart. Not smart. They're not average intelligence. That's when I hear people say, oh, I got degrees. And I know people who got degrees who are not smart. And it tends to be, and this is people gonna take it wrong. It tends to be a lot of the women who they pass on because they girls and they sleeping with the teachers, or the teachers like them. And feminism is prevalent within the healthcare system, and it's prevalent within the education system. They have a hatred, a lot of misandry for the men in the education. They don't care nothing about the young men. Let me say that first and foremost. Y'all be thinking they hatred for young men, for men stop at the kids. They don't give a fuck about the kids. So you got a lot of people out here, a lot of the boys out here or young men out here who get deemed as trouble, get deemed as stupid, and they pass the girls on and make it seem like they're literate, they're smart, and all they doing is using their female charm, sleeping with the teachers to get by. And when you talk to them, you be like, damn, how you so smart and you got this degree, you can't get a job? Or how you so smart and you let a dude who can't even read get you pregnant and manipulate? Because they're not. The system is just passing them through. And I'm saying all this to say this. This is why they got to get somebody to take their CDL exam. Honestly, I was taking an exam at a place in Detroit. It's called Concentra. You take an exam to get the job or whatever. And in passing, the guy, I guess that was before me, he had cheated the test. I guess the vision test, the written division test, he cheated the test, and they basically was back there with the doctor trying to, I forget how about a year ago, how they figured out he was cheating, but they was back there deliberating, should they call, and I think they ended up making the decision to call the people on him that he cheated the test, because that's dangerous. If you out here driving propane, fuel, anything combustible, that's dangerous. So when you look at stuff like this, an old girl dressing up and passing the exam, most people can't read, most people can't write, most people can't comprehend. And I'm not talking about the kids. I'm talking about grown adults. I'm talking about grown adults can't read, can't spell, can't do none of that just to pass the test. If you are average intelligence, you're in a unique spot in America. I remember I was working in college, working at a sandwich shop, and it's no longer around and shit. And it was a guy named Omar. Omar was cool. He was Middle Eastern descent, I believe. He was going to be a doctor. Omar couldn't even make the sandwiches the right way. Omar couldn't. He was going to be a freaking doctor. And the running joke, I don't think it was a running joke, but the running joke around was like, oh, Omar, my doctor, I'll go somewhere else, or I'll just go to the upper room, or I'll take my, good guy. But I'm looking at him like, how are you going to be a doctor? You can't even remember how to make the sandwiches. So when I hear people talking about I got degrees and I did this, and I'm just thinking like I intellectually run circles around you, and I don't have one. I intellectually can run circles around you. You don't know this, you don't know that. And that might be a reason why people may feel like, a lot of times where I don't hang around people no more, they feel like they're inferior next to me. I remember I had one of my friends I used to be cool with, you think you better than us, and I'm just looking like I've never said that. But he felt that way. And I get away, I was always smart. I get away from niggas like that. But I think people, when they get around people of intelligence, they feel inferior. And I think that's why a lot of the so-called women in general, especially the smart women, they don't match with smarter guys. They don't match with their counterparts in the business world because I think they feel inferior. But, this can be a big problem, in my opinion, because somebody can get hurt or whatever. But if scams run like this, she put the whole little get up on like him, and they caught her. So, she could be facing a lot of time, bro, and rightfully so. But most of these people can't read, can't write, can't comprehend. And this was the point of the video. So I appreciate y'all. Hit the link tree. Check out the current news playlist. You can find, hit the link tree, find me Patreon, X, Facebook, Kick, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We everywhere. Peace.